Hello and welcome to Salida Scene, where we try to get to the heart of what's happening here in Salida. Joining me today is Mayor Luigi.
I am so happy to be here.
Great. So we want to talk a little bit about what's coming in 2016.
Okay.
My first question is, can you just talk a little bit about what the City Council is really going to be working on in 2016, what their biggest priorities are?
Well, I think when you look at the problems with, I'm kind of looking at a survey here, and some of the information that was presented is 89% of people are interested in street maintenance and improvements. I know we've been addressing that for sure. We're looking at 83% water and wastewater improvements. As far as the federal mandates, we're looking at some of the backflow issues. We're also looking at making sure that we're doing everything correctly with the water treatment plant, with the filtration and so forth. And then the health costs, that's a big issue across the nation, and we're definitely looking at that, make sure we're doing that accordingly. And one of the last items is, affordable housing. How do we quantify that? How do we get that and understand the importance of that? So it's very important that we address those as a city for sure.
So when I saw that survey that you're referring to, and that was actually a statewide survey that was conducted by the Colorado Municipal League.
Correct.
And what struck you about that in terms of looking at what other communities are facing and their priorities versus what's happening here in Salida?
I guess it's a constant denominator. We all have pretty much the same issues, and it's very important that we address it and do it lethargically and make sure we do it correctly. So that's very important.
So you touched on a couple of the projects that the city is going to be working on this year around particularly the water treatment plant and chlorination issues, disinfection, and backflow prevention in the water distribution system. Are there any other big projects that are on your mind for 2016?
Well, I think some of the big issues that have been going on, as we all know that the Vanderveer development that's in process now, and they have a master plan, and I encourage everyone to go to that the meeting on February 10th, if I remember correctly. It'll be at the steam plant, and it's important we get everyone to be part of the solution and understand what's being presented and go in that direction. The second thing, there's a lot of talk about the tiny homes, and there's a lot of controversy as to how do you quantify affordable housing. It's very important that we as a community understand that this is a private developer that's coming in and investing within our community, and they're going to be putting in excess of $16 million. I did make a trip out to La Junta last week and talked to the developer and got more and more details. So something that's out there is something we need to understand and encourage private investment to our community. It's very important for us to grow.
So it seems like growth and development on a couple of different fronts is going to be a hot topic in 2016.
Correct.
Yeah, I know we've seen more building permits in the last 2 years than we had for many, maybe ever. I think we've hit new records here in Salida.
And people have said that we've had more things go on in the last 10 years than the previous 50 years, and I contend that's very true, and I think it's going to continue. So very positive with that.
Good. Well, so what do you think that citizens will notice with the new council and how you guys are functioning coming up in 2016?
Well, we which we should have did last if I was in office. We have the goals, and the goals drive the budget, and then we prioritize the goals and make sure that we're all going in the same direction. So that's very important. I wanted to make sure that we had productive, quality city council meetings. I want to make sure that we come with solutions and interact and make sure that we do whatever we can to make sure that we address the constituents' concerns. So that's very important.
Good. What are you looking forward to in particular in 2016 as mayor of Salida?
Well, I think the biggest thing is having a common sense with the community. I want to have these town halls. I think it's important that the community gets involved with the discussion. I want to make sure that the council understands their responsibilities and what's important for our community based on what the citizens want. I think that interaction with the community is vital for our community, and because it's some of these projects could be costly, and we want to make sure we're going in the right direction with all that. So I want to do that for sure.
Well, certainly this show is, another attempt by the city to try and reach our citizens. Do you have any words of encouragement or recommendations for citizens on how they could be more involved or be more knowledgeable about what's happening?
Well, I think we have our public participation there at City Council, and I've limited that to 3 minutes, so everyone can have a voice. I'm also trying to get to the point where it's not like it was in the 1800s when we were first established as a country, but there's so many ways you can we got the internet, we're on the internet, the newspapers. I mean, there's so many venues where you can get the message to us, telephone, the whole gamut. So it's important that people get involved and understand the importance of that they do truly matter, and we want to make sure we go in the right direction with all that.
Good. Can you tell me what the strangest question is that you've gotten since you were elected as mayor? I know you get a lot of calls and emails and all sorts of things, but just wondering if there's something that sticks out in your mind as just a really peculiar thing you didn't expect.
I guess the strangest question I received would be something to the effect is the misinformation about this tiny home development. People are saying, why is the city doing it? Why are we doing it? And that's not the case. It's a private developer that's doing it. So that's kind of, rumors start flowing, and, it's hard to control that momentum that's going on. And I just, so it's kind of a thing that we want to make sure that we give proper information out there, and that the constituents understand that we are not doing the development. We're doing the process of annexing some of the land and so forth, but as far as actually doing the development, it's not us investing the money. It's important for people to come and invest in our communities. And I kind of look at we have like the Edwards, 40 years ago or so, they had patio pancake. They had that idea of, just have a nice restaurant here. And now I want to buy Salida and all that kind of stuff. But for me, it goes up and beyond that. You have, the people. You go in there, and Jean's still working there, and you got Cindy and Katie and Jill, and now she has a couple kids. So it's kind of family, and that's the perception I want people that are looking at to understand that that's Salida. The hometown feel, understanding that we're a community that may not always agree, but we can bond together and go in the right direction. I don't think we as a community want to you see a lot of these towns that are inundated with fast food or chain.
Anywhere USA.
Yeah, exactly. You go and we're just kind of a quaint little small town. I think we want to maintain that small community atmosphere. I think it's important that we do that very, very much so. So.
Yeah, I agree. Salida has such a great character. But I was thinking, about those rumors, and just to tell folks when things really sound like a strange thing, come and ask. City Hall is always open. I know you keep a lot of office hours in City Hall. I'm always there, and development directors. So things aren't often as strange as they might seem. The rumors tend to stir things up a little.
And the momentum goes, and it's hard to slow it down, downshift with those. So it's very difficult.
So my last question then today is, now that you're a little over 2 months as the mayor, what do you enjoy most about being mayor of Salida?
I guess the interaction with the people and their perception of what Salida is or should be. That's a common factor. People from all entities. We have such a vibrant community. We have such a community where, there's such wealth of knowledge. I think our biggest asset is our community and how they get involved with different projects or different volunteers, and it's just a solid positive way to go. So it's really exciting for me to be part of that, to be part of what we're going to be doing in the next few years for sure. And then, it's I think it's very important.
Well, good. Well, thank you so much for joining me. We'll be right back. Next up will be Chief Doug Best talking about what's been happening with Salida Fire in 2015. Welcome back to Salida Scene, where we get to the heart of what's happening here in Salida. I'm Salida City Administrator Dara McDonald, and joining me today is our Fire Chief, Doug Best.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome. So, Doug, tell me a little bit about yourself and how you came to be the Fire Chief here in Salida.
Okay, I was born and raised in Salida. Grew up in this wonderful town. Actually started hanging around the fire department when I was 11 years old. My stepfather was a captain down there, and several of his brothers were members of the department. One was actually chief years ago. Really enjoyed hanging around the fire department. It's been a part of my life. My senior year of high school in 1983, I volunteered for the fire department, and then I left for Arizona to pursue some other goals. 1992, I moved back to Salida because I missed the mountains. And a friend that I went to school with hit me up and asked me if I wanted to come down and possibly volunteer for the fire department again. So in 92, started volunteering and fell in love with it. In 1994, I accepted a position as a paid firefighter, and the rest is pretty much history.
Well, that's great. So you've been with the department for a long time.
Long time.
That's wonderful. Can you tell me about some of the highlights for the fire department in 2015?
One highlight in 2015, we wrapped up our assistance to firefighters grant that we received in 2013. The last piece was a fill station for our breathing apparatus. It was a $50,000 fill station. We got it installed. It's working great. That grant was really good for our department. It was nearly $250,000 of equipment that we drastically needed. Let's see what else. We had a very successful event with Gentlemen of the Road. A lot of planning, a little bit of angst. Small department, but we're proud of how it turned out and the coverage we provided. And I think probably the biggest accomplishment for the department, at least in my eyes, because I'm a history buff, was in February we were awarded the State Historical Grant to restore our 1911 Kissel fire truck.
So I love this Kissel project. I think it's just such a great community project. So if you could talk a little bit more about the history of the Kissel and how you were able to raise the funds and where it's at now and what the process is going forward.
I can do that. The Kissel is a 1911 fire truck. It was the city's first motorized fire truck. It was purchased in 1912. The truck was in service for 30 years. It was originally a chemical truck, and in 1926 it was converted to a pumper. It was in service till 1942. It was taken out of service at that time and was put out at what they called the old city waterworks, which is the city galleries now. Back in the late 60s, early 70s, Chief Jack Henderson and a bunch of the volunteers went and retrieved the pieces and put the truck back together in the state that it's in now, and it was running, and they would take it around the state for the State Fire Convention, have it in parades. In the early 2000s, it began overheating in parades, so we took it out of service again. It was stored inside, but it wasn't running. When I became chief, my goal was to get this piece of history back on the road. I'm all about tradition and history, and this is a fine piece of history that the city has. So in February of last year, we received the historical grant, and the grant was in the amount of $80,000. We had to raise $20,000 match, which we did. Thank you to everyone in the City of Salida that helped us do that. In June of last year, we delivered the truck to Estes Park, Reliance Fire Museum, and the owner of Reliance Fire is Doug Klink, and he'll be doing the restoration process. Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
So I understand it may be one of the oldest fire trucks still operating or still in existence in the state of Colorado.
It is one of the oldest. There's some contention on who has the oldest fire truck, but it is definitely one of the oldest. 1911 is when they first started rolling out motorized fire apparatus.
That's great. I think kudos to your department for really getting out there and doing the fundraising. I think it's an exciting project. I understand there were everything, donations of $1,000 or more to $10, $20 here and there at different events. So lots of community involvement. So it'll be really fun to have that back in the parades.
Yes, it's going to be a lot of fun to have that truck driving around town again.
In 2015, the city entered into an all-risk mutual aid agreement. Can you just explain exactly what mutual aid is and how this agreement might be a little different than ones previously?
Sure. Mutual aid is an agreement between fire agencies, law enforcement agencies. And what mutual aid is a document that says if they need your assistance, you will provide that assistance at no charge for a certain period of time. Small incident, if an incident goes into several days, then you have to look at other options. I have aid agreements with all the surrounding departments. I have an automatic aid agreement with my county fire department for any kind of structure fire because we're rural and we don't have a lot of people. The volunteer departments, their people are working during the days, so they don't always have staff to rely on, and I'm a 9-man department. The all-risk mutual aid is an agreement that was recently signed in the county, and it's not just agency like fire and police, but it's also our public works and other departments within the cities to provide assistance. So it's just a clean copy of saying, yes, we'll provide you assistance for this amount of time at no expense.
That's great. In 2015, I noticed that about half of the calls that your crew responds to are medical or EMS related. So the fire department does so much more these days than fight fires. Could you just talk a little bit about how the duties of the fire department have changed during your career and what other types of services you and your crew provide in the community?
Absolutely. The easiest way to put it is prior to 9/11, we were a fire department. We put out fires and we ran EMS calls. After 9/11, there was a big shift in this country. Different terms, all hazards, emergency management and whatnot. Lots of time put in on terrorist type events. So since 9/11, our department has progressed into an all hazards department, trained in various different aspects, aside from fire and EMS, hazmat, things like that. So it was a big change. It was a good change, and it even goes all the way down to elected officials, yourself, finance people, planning for large events. Other things that we do at the fire department, besides EMS, obviously put out fires. We do swift water rescue, we do ice rescue, high angle, low angle, and that's just calls. Around the station on any given day, it's equipment maintenance, truck maintenance, building maintenance, fire prevention, smoke detector installs, plans reviews, fire inspections. I keep the staff very busy and they work very hard.
You also do a lot of community outreach in the schools and education and
Yep.
all of that.
We're in the schools every October for Fire Prevention Week. We assist with bike rodeos. Basically, if someone needs our help and we're available, we'll come and help them.
Well, the last thing for today, 4th of July and the night after Thanksgiving fireworks are so popular here in Salida. Can you explain the fire department's role in that and if there's anything new coming for 2016?
Absolutely. Fire department, for as long as I can remember, has done the fireworks show. Years ago, it used to be out at the fairgrounds, and now for the last 20 plus years, we shoot them off of Tenderfoot, which is an ideal location. There's a tremendous amount of work that goes into doing the fireworks show. First off, we raise money, so I want to thank everyone in town again for helping us to do this show, because without their help, we couldn't do it. We get the money raised. The man hours put in to pull off the show on the 4th of July is, we start early on the morning of the 4th. We actually start the day before with some preliminary setup, but then on the actual 4th of July, all the staff members are up on the mountain, all 3 roads, setting all the charges. Everyone has to be wired in. We've made a lot of improvements. Back when I started, we'd have a fusee and we would pull the cover off the fuse, light it, and duck. Not exactly the safest way to shoot fireworks, but it was a lot of fun. But now, with the electronic firing, we're able to use larger shells, and every year it seems that the show just gets better and better. As far as what's planned for this year, I give my staff full autonomy on the show. I will review it for safety, but I kind of let them run with it.
I know they get pretty excited. And real quick, what are the big projects or changes ahead for 2016 in the department?
Well, are we having another concert?
Not that I know of.
Okay. 2 of the biggest things that I'm looking forward to and hopefully at least getting started on is a live fire training facility and a maintenance building that we drastically need to perform maintenance on our fire trucks.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for coming. We'll be right back with Salida Scene. Thanks.
Thank you.
Choose the unpretentious alternative for productive meetings and retreats at the Steam Plant Event Center. Centrally located in Salida, Colorado, with convenient access from all over the state, the Steam Plant Event Center can comfortably accommodate groups of well over 100 guests with separate meeting spaces available, including a ballroom, the Riverside Annex, and a 220-seat theater. Hosting your next meeting at the Steam Plant will result in a high attendance rate because of its central Colorado location, and participants will enjoy Salida's relaxed, small-town atmosphere. The Steam Plant has a variety of multi-purpose spaces capable of handling most meeting requirements. The Riverside Annex can accommodate up to 80 participants and is available as 3 breakout rooms with retractable walls that can become one larger room. The ballroom offers a gracious space for large meetings, luncheon presentations, exhibits, fundraisers, weddings, and get-togethers. The adjacent theater is just the place for larger audience presentations. 2 on-site galleries feature revolving exhibits by local artists. Situated on the banks of the Arkansas River, the Steam Plant Event Center has a large outdoor plaza area and unique sculpture garden that can both be utilized in the warmer months to provide additional space for informal gatherings. In addition, the Steam Plant offers a commercial kitchen for use of food preparation from select caterers. Salida is home to the largest historical district in Colorado, as well as one of the first designated Colorado Creative Districts, and offers visitors a variety of unique shops, art galleries, restaurants, and recreational river and mountain town activities. Far away from the hustle and bustle of the bigger cities, but with all the amenities you can expect from any large-scale venue. From advanced audio-visual capabilities to Wi-Fi network and live video stream opportunities to broadcast your event worldwide, the Steam Plant Event Center provides the ideal location, the facilities and flexibility, as well as the event planning expertise to enable you to accomplish your meeting goals. Business as usual? Not even close.
Hello and welcome back to Salida Scene, where we get to the heart of what's happening here in Salida. I'm Salida City Administrator Dara McDonald, and joining me now is our Arts and Recreation Director, Teresa Casey. Welcome.
Thank you, Dara.
So, we're going to talk a little bit about what happened in 2015 and maybe touch on some things that are coming in 2016. So, could you just fill us in on some of the big projects that happened around the pool and recreation in 2015?
Sure. 2015 was actually a very big year for the pool. As you know, we've done a lot of capital projects to try to kind of maintain the structure over there. And in 2015, we finished our HVAC project, our heating, air conditioning, and ventilation. Prior to that repair, we had a lot of humidity happening in the pool area. And sometimes when it was really super cold outside, it was actually raining inside the building. So we've got a whole new makeup air unit, and we're moving the air around a lot better. And when you walk in the morning, you don't just see the rain coming down in there anymore. So it's been really nice. It's improved the whole ambient temperature in the space, and it's improved the kind of the experience of coming to the pool, as well as protecting the building and the vessel into the future.
Yeah, I think that was a really big project, and like you said, much needed to improve things there. I have noticed at the pool that there's a new slide.
Yeah, the slide's been a huge hit. Thank you very much to City Council for allowing me to kind of do some crazy things. And the slide it's not huge, but it's a water slide. It was real simple to install. We plumbed it right into the current. Actually, most people probably don't know that there's a tunnel underneath the pool or around the perimeter of the pool, and we were able to tuck that slide right in and drill right into one of the pipes in the tunnel and get that going. We got that up last spring break, and it's been a big hit.
I know my daughter really enjoys it, and she was only 4 when it went in, but it's so fun to watch all the kids playing on the slide and just being so excited about a new big toy at the pool.
It's fun to watch the kids, but we definitely have the adults after class sometimes come to us and say, okay, we're the only ones here right now. Can you turn the slide on so we can ride it?
That's great.
We'd like to play too.
What other big projects? The locker rooms just recently opened.
They did. Just last week, we finally opened the new locker rooms, and they are just so nice and so much different than the old locker rooms, and I think a huge improvement to the facility.
Well, I remember then when I had first started with the city about 10 years ago, we had to close the locker rooms at that time because they were in such disrepair and it was sort of raining in there, and so some improvements were made to sort of limp those along for a while. But this project's been a really long time coming.
Yes, it has. You know, when they did that makeover on the locker rooms a few years ago, it was with the intent that we would be building a recreation center and all new locker rooms within the next 5 years. Well, then the recession hit, and it just wasn't feasible to do at that time. So we really have sort of made do. And the big thing about the new locker rooms is that they are all ADA accessible now. We didn't have ADA toilet stalls or ADA shower stalls, and we didn't have nice family locker rooms, and we have that now. And the folks, especially the folks that use the family locker room, are so appreciative of having a place, with a small child. It's so much easier to go into a confined space and
contained.
Get ready to go.
That's true.
So we certainly have some issues with the new locker room, and the benches aren't in yet, and there are a few things that are still yet to come. The cubbies aren't there yet, but those are coming. So we're sort of a work in progress. So bear with us if you get there and it's not kind of working the way you thought it might.
Yeah, with any new project, there's always kinks that have to be worked through, and then I think that intention and the excitement to get them open, even though we knew there were a few things yet to be done and completed.
Yeah, and I just couldn't sit on them any longer. People were starting to wonder if we were ever going to open them. So now they're open and they're functional, and I just think they look really great, and they have a nice clean feel to them, and the staff has taken great ownership, and they're trying to do a really good job of keeping them clean.
And both of those big projects, the HVAC project, which was very substantial, and then the locker room project, were both awarded to our local contractor, right?
Yes. Dieslin Structures bid on both of those projects. They were low bidder on both of those projects. And I've really enjoyed working with Dieslin, one, because I can run over to their office, or they can run over if I have an issue. They're on site right away. And even years down the line, I'm able to call them and they come back. So it is nice to have a local contractor who've got kids in the school system, and they are very involved in the pool as well. And they just respond whenever we need anything.
Yeah, they're a great partner for lots of our projects. That's always nice. Can you just talk a little bit about overall, how attendance has changed at the pool in recent years, and what kind of trends you're seeing there?
This last year, our attendance shot up. We are over 21% increase in attendance this last year. It is amazing, and I think that it's a combination of things. Our staff is doing a great job on Facebook. In fact, if you haven't liked us on Facebook, please do that, salidarec.com. We also have done a lot more advertising. We added the slide. We have the private soaking pools that are really, really hitting their stride right now. So I think it's a combination of things. Also, I just think that our staff is really super friendly. The lifeguards are great. The custodial staff does a super job of keeping the place clean. And I don't know about you, but that's one thing I look for when I go to a facility is a clean locker room makes a whole experience. So I think our staff does a really good job.
Good. So in addition to the pool, just the pool, you also oversee the recreation programs, some of which happen at the pool. So talk a little bit about what the most popular recreation programs have been and what sort of trends you're seeing in recreation these days.
Salida is a really active community, and the outdoor activities are the most popular in this community. Mountain biking, of course, is going crazy in this community, especially with a great high school team. But the fastest growing sport in America, and I don't know if you've tried it yet, Dara, but it's pickleball. And so we have developed pickleball courts all over town and even out at the county fairgrounds. And we have a relationship going with the county fairgrounds that we split the revenues for the pickleball players out there. We made some pickleball courts in Centennial Park, and we also are playing at Longfellow Elementary at times. So fastest growing sport in America, you got to try it.
I think that's great. The more, like you said, such an active community, and the more ways that we can get people involved and support them in their efforts, I think it's an important role for the city. What about your revenues at the pool? I mean, what have you seen? I know there's always discussion about the subsidy for the pool or what the cost recovery is for the pool. So can you just speak to how you try and address that?
Sure. Well, the council has set a goal for the recreation department to try to recover about 75% of what we spend. And I think we did a great job this year. I haven't seen the final numbers, but I'm pretty sure we're right in there. Our revenue this last year is up almost $60,000 more than last year. And for us, that is really a lot of money. That's like 2 months worth of revenue. So I think we're hitting that goal. We keep it in mind when we try programs. If they're not bringing in revenue or they're not getting people in, then we scrap that and try something different. And I think that's the appetite in Salida is always changing, something new.
And I think just to touch on some of the programs that people may not know come out of Salida Recreation, things like the Travelogues or Thursdays at 6 and Bike Fest. Can you just speak to how you sort of manage those events and what you try and look for in promoting those?
So partnership is really one great thing, and especially for the Thursdays at 6 concerts that happen at Riverside Park Thursday nights in the summertime. We look for business partners on that, and we have a great partnership with the Salida Business Alliance, and a lot of those folks sponsor those concerts. So we really try to find people who are interested in certain things and try to make programs out of those things that people are interested in.
Well, I think Thursdays at 6, I don't know if we're going to the 4th or 5th season now, but that's been such a great thing for the community. You just see all your friends and neighbors down there on Thursday afternoons, and I mean, it's free for everybody. Kids running wild and enjoying the music. It's a really great thing, one of my favorite programs that the Recreation Department does.
It is a lot of fun, and you do see everybody. And one of the things that when we developed this program was we didn't want to sell food or alcohol at the event, because what we want to do is try to get people downtown and get them to go out to the bars and restaurants and then come and listen to the music, or go pick up dinner and come and listen to the music. We do, at the Thursdays at 6, take donations, and we use that for our scholarship fund to get kids who can't afford programs into our recreation programs.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Teresa.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And that's it for the Salida Scene today. Thank you for joining us.